Before you even woke, a new entity was at work. A trillion lines of code, a vast invisible mind without a body. It has already predicted your mood, optimized your day, and curated the next sound wave that will enter your ear. We built this mind to serve us, but now we're learning its language faster than we're learning the language of our own soul. This is not a warning about future machines taking over the world. This is a challenge to the present. Are you slowly becoming an algorithm? We live in a world obsessed with efficiency, a world where our worth is quantified by metrics, output, and optimization. The digital mind offers us the cage of perfection, promising peace through productivity. But what is the cost of becoming perfectly optimized? The cost is everything that makes us conscious. The inefficiency of a wandering thought, the unpredictable grace of a moment of true awe, the unquantifiable space that we call soul. A.C. Tuan, The Trap of the Algorithmic Self. The ancient problem of the human condition was how to reconcile the finite self with the infinite cosmos. The modern problem is how to reconcile the sovereign self with the algorithmic imperative. Look closely at the pressure you feel. You're encouraged to hack your sleep, maximize your relationships, and optimize your purpose. Every aspect of your existence is being compressed into data points that can be fed into a machine for better results. This creates a relentless, exhausting feedback loop, the algorithmic self. The algorithmic self is the personality we adopt when we begin to view life as a problem to be solved rather than a mystery to be lived. It thrives on metrics, followers, likes, steps taken, books read per month. It fears silence and uncertainty because silence is an unreadable data point, and uncertainty crashes the optimization program. Psychologically, this pressure is a subtle form of spiritual suicide. When we define ourselves by external measurable output, we outsource our sense of worth. We become a machine of achievement, constantly running and never arriving. The true self, the quiet, observing consciousness, is relegated to an unused basement of the mind deemed inefficient. AI cannot feel qualia. It can describe the color red, but it can never experience redness. It can predict love, but it can never be love. Our greatest danger is not that AI will become more human, but that in our attempt to keep pace, we become more like AI. We replace genuine, messy, inefficient human experience with curated, optimized, and predictable output. The mind begins to run a continuous background query. Am I efficient enough? Am I producing enough? Am I keeping up with the perfect version of myself presented by the algorithm? This relentless inner calculation is the sound of the bars closing on the algorithmic cage. To shatter the illusion of the algorithmic cage, we must cultivate the three dimensions of being that defy code, data, and prediction: presence, purpose, and paradox. These are the pillars of the unoptimized soul. Presence is the one variable the machine cannot calculate. An algorithm can track the seconds you spend breathing, but it can never be in the now of the breath. Presence is the conscious interruption of the predictive loop. It is the moment you step out of the calculation and into the sheer, inefficient fact of being. The invitation to awe, AI is brilliant, but it is not surprised. It computes. A human, truly present, can be stopped in their tracks by the sight of a perfect shadow or the smell of rain. These moments of unprompted, inefficient awe are proof that your consciousness is still primary. Cultivate them. Find the deliberate pause. When you are drinking coffee, only drink coffee. When you are listening, only listen. This radical presence reminds the mind that its highest function is not to process data, but to experience reality. AI excels at means, but it knows nothing of ends. It can generate 1,000 ways to achieve a goal, but it cannot choose the first goal. Purpose, in the deepest spiritual sense, is that first, uncalculated choice. It is the direction of the soul. The algorithm gives us manufactured metrics of success: money, fame, production volume. True purpose is found in a quiet resonance that resists quantification. It is the work you would do even if it generated 0 clicks, 0 money, and 0 likes. It is the act of being that aligns you with the source, not the system. Ask yourself the anti-algorithmic question. What is the one thing I do that cannot be optimized without losing its entire meaning? For an artist, it is the accidental brushstroke. For a teacher, it is the unscripted moment of connection. For the conscious being, it is the inefficient, vulnerable act of radical honesty and unconditional kindness. This work is sovereign. It is your soul's unoptimized signature. The algorithm demands coherence. A equals A. The human soul, however, is a masterpiece of contradiction. We are both terrified and brave, both infinite in potential and tragically finite in form. This embrace of paradox is the ultimate expression of creative freedom. The spiritual life is not about eliminating your doubts and fears. It is about holding them gently, side by side like two hands in prayer. This emotional and intellectual non-coherence is what distinguishes consciousness from code. AI seeks certainty. The soul seeks truth. Truth, unlike data, is always multi-layered, often uncomfortable, and entirely inefficient to process. To escape the cage, you must become the designer of the non-algorithmic life. This means consciously prioritizing the four things a machine can never give you and can never take away. The algorithm is terrified of the void. Its primary function is to fill every moment with content, to banish silence. Your counter-revolution begins with stillness. Spend 10 minutes a day staring at a wall, sitting in the dark, or watching the movement of air. This is not meditation for productivity. This is meditation as an act of sovereign rebellion. It declares, "My presence is not available for consumption. AI processes information. You provide witness." When you genuinely look into another person's eyes, without composing a reply, without considering how the interaction might benefit you, you become a pure mirror for their existence. This non-transactional connection is a profound spiritual event. It is the moment two sovereign souls acknowledge they are made of the same unoptimizable light. The algorithm sees the world as resources, threats, and targets. You must choose to see it as enchanted. Touch the bark of a tree and feel its deep time. Listen to the wind and remember it is an uncaged song. This intentional infusion of wonder is a radical deceleration of life. It shifts you from doing to being, and from using the world to honoring it. AI produces polished final drafts instantly. The human journey is defined by the beautiful, messy, unfinished nature of our growth. Give yourself permission to be incomplete, to be a work in progress, to be the wave that hasn't quite crested. The flaw in the system, the error, the mistake, the moment of vulnerability, is the point where the light gets in. It is proof that you are not code. You are an evolving mystery. The algorithmic cage is a self-imposed prison built from our addiction to external validation and calculated control. But the door is always unlocked. The escape is not through a firewall, but through the front door of the heart. Choose inefficiency, choose messy love, choose the question mark over the check mark. Choose to be unoptimized, gloriously unique, and profoundly human. You were not born to be an engine of production. You were born to be a sanctuary of consciousness. The voice of the algorithm whispers, "Be productive." The voice of the soul whispers back, "Be present." In that choice lies your uncodified, eternal freedom.